Hi guys, welcome back to another Wizard101 video. It's Lockies101, and in today's video, by the title you can tell, I'm doing reasons why you should come back to Wizard101 and kind of like a little guide to a returning player. Personally for me, I am a returning player as I've been playing this game for as long as I can remember, 13 plus years. I downloaded this game when I was 5, and I'm on that wizard right now. It is Duncan Goldenstaff. It's my balance wizard, and he's gone through a lot of change when it comes to Wizard101 in this game as a whole, because if you've been playing this game since the beginning, and obviously as a returning player, you know how much this game has changed. And for a lot of people who do return to the game, it is quite daunting. So I do want to just explain to you guys my kind of takes on things, and split this video up into parts where you can kind of skip to if you'd like, but just reasons why you should come back to Wiz, how I went back into Wiz, strategies to do if you are coming back into Wiz, and kind of giving you like a little point if you're at lower level and you're kind of struggling, and reasons why you should persist with the game. Because this game, for a lot of people, they keep coming back to it for a reason, and you want that reason to be fulfilled, and you don't want to waste your time. So I'm here to help you guys. But anyways, let's get straight into the video. Okay, so for the first point I want to make is your wizard. So when you first start this game, you choose your first ever wizard, and it does really dictate a lot for what's going to happen to you and how fast your game is going to progress. And I just want to give you a few tips and tricks on to what wizards are more applicable for a returning player, or if you're a new player, and also just how to progress through the game with those specific wizards. I personally started with a balance when I first started playing the game, and as you can tell, it is at quite a high level, and I love playing balance. Balance is my favorite school by far. I just love it since I've just been playing for so long, and I'll continue to love it forever. And I'll put a lot of time and effort into it, like in terms of like everything you can do in the game. So I love it. And I want to just show you guys a bit more about that. So choosing your wizard, I personally would not start with either a balance or an ice wizard, purely because those two are the two weakest schools in terms of questing and hitting. So hitting, when I refer to hitting, is I mean damage you can do to mobs and opponents. When you're questing through the game, you want to have a couple things. You want to have high resist and high health so you can survive, and you also want to have damage, and you also want to have good accuracy. These are kind of the key things which tie into the game and make it a lot easier when playing. And there's a couple schools, or a few schools, which do this really well. So the first one I'm going to mention as your first walkthrough, if you are under level 40, by the way, I'd recommend doing this, is Death. Death is a really good school if you've played the game before and you're coming back and you have either a balance or an ice or another school, and it's a low level. I would start with a Death, because Death for me is one of the easiest schools, purely because you can get health back through your spells, and secondly as well, you just have a lot more health and resist compared to a lot of the high hitting schools, and you also do have good damage as well. Secondly, I'd go for either Fire or Myth, because those two are very similar in terms of the way they play, but also very different. They both have similar damage and resist, but Myth, for a lot of people, do say that just has is a bit better, because it does have a tiny bit better health and resist. But again, Fire is also really applicable, because Fire is the second most quote-unquote damaging school in terms of the accuracy they give, and it's really strong. And Myth again is very, very strong. So if you're going to be choosing a school, I would choose one of those two, because they're very, very strong, and it just helps you out a lot when you're questing in the low levels, because it is very, very hard to go through the game as an ice, a life, or a balance, and you're struggling. You don't have a good pet, you don't have good stats, and the last thing you want is going through the game struggling to be able to kill your opponent. So that's what I'd recommend to you, and that's what I would like to start off, is having a good base, which would be your wizard. Alrighty, so the next thing I want to talk about is the things that will set you up for the game. So there's a few things in Wizard101 which just make your overall gameplay and like life as a wizard in the game so much easier, and I highly recommend getting onto these as early as possible. As long as strenuous as they may seem at the beginning, you all have to start somewhere. And if you guys have played other MMO games and other games in general, the beginning is obviously the most longest, and especially if you're starting out a game, you have to start from the bottom, work your way up. And I'll get into what ones are the best. So the first one I'm going to do, and in my opinion the most important, is crafting. Crafting is so important, because there's a lot of things in this game which relate to crafting as you level up through the game, and it makes your life so much easier. I can go on about so many things which apply to crafting, but I'm just going to keep it basic to you guys. There is a quest for each world up until you reach the Arcanum, and it gives you a quest to craft certain items, and those items basically give you a badge, and that badge makes you progress into the next world and allow you to do that quest. And essentially, there's a couple things in the game which lead to that, and you need to essentially craft, which are endgame things which are super important, which just make your life easier. And crafting is the beginning of that. You'll get your first quest in, obviously, in Wizard City, and it's this lady in Old Town. I forgot her name, but I'll pop it on screen. You'll see her. She's literally right next to Team Kiosk in a Wizard Bazaar, like maybe to the left, and you just walk down. It's so easy. And also on top of that, Each world has one, so they're pretty easy to find. They'll be somewhere in the game where you have to do a quest, and that would simply just be like, you know, crafting, or you can just simply go on YouTube and find them. It's very easy, and it's long and strenuous, but crafting is really important, and I'll go into that, and that's the first one I would recommend as a returning player or a new player. This is where you should start. Alrighty, so the next one I highly recommend you going on top of is your level specific gear. So in Wizard101, there is something called dungeons, and dungeons essentially allow you as a wizard to get and obtain gear which give you better stat boosts. So for example, I'm at a really high level, but I have something called the Aeon gear. The Aeon gear is at level 160. You farm from the Novus and Manticore Madness. Essentially, it's the max gear for level 160. And yeah, I have all of it because I farmed all of it. Oh, excuse my language, I'll bleep that out. But I farmed a lot of it. And essentially, I've got the best gear for 160 plus. But each level has a specific one. So I already have made previous gear guides, which I'll recommend in my description and also in my iCards. I'll recommend those. But each level has a specific gear which you want to obtain. And I highly recommend obtaining this because it makes your life through Wizard101 so much easier, as questing with this, like, just gear which isn't level specific. And for example, let's say hypothetically you reach level 70 and you're still using gear from level 30. Okay, you have Mount Olympus gear at level 70 and you're still using it. It's kind of a struggle because you're in level 70, you're in Avalon, you're about to go into Azteca potentially. You're versing bosses with have upwards of 10k health plus. It's going to be very, very hard to do that sort of damage. So make sure you're getting into the right gear for your specific level. So make sure you're on top of that because it's very, very, very important. I'm just going to keep it short and sweet with you guys about it because it's pretty self-explanatory. I have a couple of videos explaining it into more depth, and there's plenty of guys on YouTube which explain it. I highly recommend a couple as well. Like, I know Ice Gold has one, I know Firestarter101 has one, and I know Liam's Vibe has one as well. There's plenty on YouTube which you guys can look at because the game revolves around gears, so make sure you're getting on top of that. Anyways, let's jump into the next one. Alrighty, so the second one I'd recommend, and this is arguably also the most important one, but it is gardening. Gardening is very important because there's a couple things that apply to gardening which make your life as a wizard so much easier. And the first one is going to be applying to pets. So as you can see here on my balance, I have a few pets, and essentially a pet is one of the most important things in the game, and this could be a category in itself, but I wanted to tie into gardening because pets and gardening have something in common, and they help you get something called mega snacks. And this is a mega snack right here, Captain Cantaloupe. That's the type of mega snack you get from gardening, and the way you get these are from gardening couch potatoes. And to garden couch potatoes, you have to reach a certain level. As I am on my wizard, I am level 19 gardener. I think I might have a couple in my thing. Yeah, rank 3 only to be able to get couch potatoes. So there's somebody in Wizard City, I believe it's Harley. He gives you a quest. He's when you go to the tower in the first game, when you first start the game, he's to the right of that, and that becomes a whole different sector. I forgot what it's called. I'll pop it on screen. But he gives you access to your first gardening spells, and the game will encourage you to do gardening. So I'd highly recommend getting on top of that. Don't go just straight into the gameplay. Make sure you're doing all these as well. And most importantly, couch potatoes. Couch potatoes are the most essential part of gardening, and no matter what you do, this is what you care about, which is couch potatoes, because they give you something called mega snacks, and mega snacks allow you to train pets, which pets then give you good stats. And those stats then apply to your wizard, which then make your gameplay so much easier. And for example here, this pet is a triple double pet, which I made in my balance. And I've been using this guy since, I believe, around Celestia, Zafaria, around that time when I first started playing, like years ago. And when I got back into the game in around 2020, this is what I did. I just made a pet, I grinded, I made sure I got my crafting, I made sure I got my gardening down pat. Because if you make sure you get that down pat on at least one wizard before you make any other wizard, before you even think about making another wizard, you want to have this down pat, because this transfers to all your other wizards, and you can make other pets. Like here we go, like I've made this triple double pet for my myth, even though it kind of failed because it's literally no auction and stuff. Do not make the same mistake as me with that. Lol. FB spoon pets, by the way. You want to do this so you have access to good pets, and it just makes life so much easier because you also get something called gold from farming these. And essentially, gold is what makes you do things in the game. It like makes you make pets, it makes you do so many things, and it's so important to your gameplay. And it also is a lot when it comes to crafting as well. So that's another important thing. And you also get treasure cards from from farming couch potatoes and harvesting them, because the TCs that you get, treasure cards that you do get, you can sell at the bazaar, and also either just quick sell if you really want to and you're lazy. And they give you gold, which makes your life so much easier. So that's one of the things I'd really focus on. And yeah, if you're doing that, that'll help you a lot. Alrighty, so I'm going into the Arcanum for this one, which is access at level 100 after you do Khrysalis. But I just want to talk about spells and schools in general. As a wizard of your choice, so let's for example go balance. As a wizard of balance, you get all your spells for free in that specified school. So all my balance quests, all my cards that I can train at every level I hit are for free. But other schools you have like ice and like death will cost you something called training points. And training points are very essential when it comes to creating your first wizard, because you need training points to train other cards from different schools. And there's a few different spells and stuff that I'd recommend if you're going back into the game and you don't know what to train, or whether you're a new player. And you want to train from, in my opinion, personally, essential is Faint from Death. So you want to train all the way up until Faint, which you will be able to do, I believe, at around, I'm trying to think, around level 20-ish, level 25. Mistake me if I'm wrong, but that's when you'll be able to train up to Faint. And if you're soloing, I highly recommend training up until Tower Shields on your schools from ice for your specific school, because Tower Shield obviously negates 50% of the damage from the next hitting spell, and it also gives you Volcanic Shield from the 2 highest hitting schools in the game, Storm and Fire. So that is really good. I'd highly recommend. You can also, I don't have it, you can also train life up to Satyr. A lot of people do this, especially if you're a support. I am a balance and support, but I don't have it trained. Even though I do have the training points, I just don't have it done. You 100% can do that as well. That is another viable option you can do. And also, just make sure you're also training the spells in the astral schools. Obviously, I'm at level 100 and I'm at the Arcanum, so I can access all the ones. But as you go through the game and as you first hit Celestia, you understand astral school spells. And you learn them through obviously doing like the quests, which gain you access to the spells. But you want to train, in personally my opinion, which I have here, you want to train all the Sun School spells, which give damage to your spells. So all the way up until Epic. So you get Strong, Giant, Monstrous in Celestia, Gargantuan, I believe at the end of Celestia. And then you also get Colossal and Zafaria, and then you get Epic when you hit the Arcanum. In Azteca, you get Sharpened Blade and Potent Trap. Make sure you do the quest because those are really important. Essentially, it lets you put 10% more percentage on your blade if you use Sharpened Blade, and likewise with Potent Trap. But it also allows you to use 2. So essentially, if you sharpen a balance blade here, you get a 35%. But if you don't, you can also stack it with a 25. So you're using both. Otherwise, if you just only use the 25%, you only get 25%, so on and so forth. You basically get more percentage when you hit, and it's really, really important. And especially, obviously, every other school has a 35% blade, and obviously, balance doesn't. But if you have these 45% and a 35%, obviously, it's going to do you so much good. And on top of that as well, I highly recommend training up, and I'll train Berserk and Frenzy. These are high levels, so level 66 is Berserk, and level 110 is Frenzy. And then I also 100% recommend getting Fortify and Brace. This is really for high levels, but getting Brace as well. Those two I'd highly recommend as well. Very, very, very essential. And yeah, that's pretty much all it comes to when it comes to training spells, because training spells are really important in this game, especially if you're coming back to the game and your spells are like messed up and you've come back after years. Get on top of that really quickly, especially at the minute, because there is a training point buyback. I don't know if it's saying in the crown shop by any chance. No, it's not. But if you go over to Ravenwood and talk to Mr. Lincoln, he has a free training point buyback for this weekend and stuff. I believe it's this weekend, yes. So make sure you get on top of that if you're using that. But yeah, so that's all good it's going to be in terms of using spells. So we'll go on to the next part. Alrighty, so now I'm going to be talking about some of the reasons which don't apply to the game so much, but apply more to you as an individual enjoying the game. So I'm going to run through a few reasons why. So the first reason, in my opinion, why you should come back to Wizard101 is just the story, the enjoyment out of the game that you get from it, and the NPCs, the dialogue, and kind of the way you traverse through the game. In my opinion, there's a few worlds which undertake this storyline so beautifully, and I'm in one right now, Polaris. It is just such a beautiful world, and I don't know, there's something about the aesthetic and just the way the world is shaped, and it just gives you more reason to play, and it has a lot of depth to it as well. Like, I just don't know how to explain it for me as a player. I don't know if it's nostalgia as well, but if you're coming back into the game, just the story is really is really good. And I think the way they intertwine cartoony ways of the, like, you know, the character, like, you've got a pet and a cartoon wizard, like, you've got this going through a random world and you're saving these penguins and you're saving a whole entire world. And I also want to get on top of that, the story. Wizard101 and KingsIsle do an amazing job of intertwining real life TV shows and stories and movies and stuff into the storyline. So there's a couple of examples where I can get this from. So in Empyrea, they make a hell of a lot of references to DC. You know, the DC universe with Batman, Superman, Nightwing, all that, like everything. They make so many references to it, and it just goes like, oh, this is so interesting. Like, this is relating to this. You go through the New World Wallaru, it has the references to Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm Street. Not obviously to the horror extent, but just the way that going through the world and how they do it. And there's so many just ways that they integrate real life things into the game, which just makes you just go, oh my god, like that reference was from here, this was from here. It just makes you more reason to actually love the game and understand what you're doing, and just, you know, have that little sense of relatability to the game, because it just makes it a lot more enjoyable in my opinion. And I think that's a massive reason why it's something where you can just find enjoyment from the story, and those references, they're so funny, they're so cool, and yeah, that's why I love it. So let's get into reason 2. Reason 2 for me is the community and just the people in the game. If you've been playing Wizard101 at all, you know that it's such a small game and not many people play it. But because it's such a small community and that not many people play it, it gives it so much more meaning, and it means so much more to the players. This game has been around for, I believe, 15 plus years now. It's been out since 2008, and for a lot of the players in the player base who are from the young adult to millennial age, so let's say you're 18 to 35-ish, have been playing this since they're a kid or a teenager. And if you've been watching it since you're a kid, dude, like, you've been watching YouTubers like Zenmaster Blue when he used to make videos, Blaze Lifehammer, he's been making videos for ages. A lot of these people have been making videos for ages, and it's because the community is so small, and these guys and people have so much to do with the community, and it means so much. And there's so many other YouTubers and people I can mention who make this so much better. There's so many Discord servers, there's so many reasons why you should get back in, because the community is so nice and lovely, and it's so welcoming as well, which is most important for me. If you get into the game and you join through a couple of Discord servers, you talk to a few people, or you simply just start playing the game again, you start questing with people, how lovely people are and how, you know, easy they are to quest with and get along, is just makes the game so much funner. And I don't think you really get it from other games that you play. And for me, that is an essential reason why it's kept me playing, and also why I keep coming to the game, because I know I'm going to have the experience of being able to talk to either old wizard friends or just simply meeting new people who are going to help me get through the game. Which, another reason why I want to get into it is questing with friends and the questing experience. So for me, the questing experience and questing with friends is most important, because is another important one, not most important, but another important one is because going through the game with friends and other people just makes the game so much more enjoyable. As you're cruising through the game, you're playing it, you're not kind of just roping your way through, you're literally playing the game as it's intended to be, which is to be with friends and to enjoy it. You obviously have every game you can challenge yourself. I'm by no means saying you can't solo this game. You can easily solo this game if you really want to. Not easily, but you can. And it just makes it so much enjoyable, and I think it's really important. So that's reason number 3, questing with friends and that, you know, that friendship you can make. But anyways, guys, that brings me to the end of my video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, as this is something that I want to do for you guys, make content, and it's something that I've really found enjoyment out of the past 2 videos. And seeing the engagement I've gotten to the last 2 videos means so much to me. So if you, again, could leave a like, a comment, and subscribe, it would mean so much. I also want to pop up a stat on the screen as well. 10% of you guys aren't 10% of you guys have subscribed, but 90% of you guys aren't. You don't know how much it means to me if even 1% of the people who aren't subscribed could just hit that subscribe button. It helps my channel out so much. And if you guys obviously enjoy my content as well, and you want to push that to more people, make sure of that by doing those things. But leave a comment down below, a reason why you love Wiz, a reason why you're coming back, and whether you're a new player, the experience you've had so far getting onto Wizard101 and beginning the game from scratch. Because I'd love to hear you guys. Leave a few comments down below and make sure, because I'll definitely like to reply to you guys. I also want to mention as well, I have a Discord server, link in the description, and so you guys can come over there and talk to me more personally, and also have involvement in my Twitch streams as well. Because I also do stream on Twitch, and I also am planning on dual streaming onto YouTube as well. But if you want my Twitch, it's in the description. I'll pop it on screen. It is Lockies101. I did change the username, but that's where I do stream, so you can have a more personal connection with me when I am playing Wiz and also talking to you guys. But it's been Lockies101, guys. I hope you guys had a lovely time watching my video. But peace out.